A lot happened on Tuesday night at Wrigley, but in the end, it's another series victory for our Cubbies.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olbert. I'm a lifelong fan taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and give us a comment below. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Later in the show, we're going to talk about a little bit of a follow-up on the Ryan Presley's in my head, the Kyle Tucker situation, the contract extension. I texted some people around the league today, watched Cap's podcast, and I just want to do a little bit of follow-up. Matt might not be thrilled at me for that, but I think it's important. We'll talk a little bit minor leagues, Cubs schedule, Cubs bullpen, but we start with a wild game on the north side Tuesday night. A lot of good, some bad. Most of the bullpen we're going to cover in the second segment, but we need to talk about another Cubs win, another Cubs series, another Cubs offensive outburst. Yes, I know the bullpen, we'll get to it. I have my ginger ale here because the Cubs bullpen really upsets my stomach. I'm working on a nickname for them, like the Pepto-Bismol bullpen or something like that, because I just, they cause you to go get medication, these guys. I don't know what to do. But in the end, the medication was the offense because they took care of business, and a little bit of Texas, maybe a lot of Texas. They made a lot of errors in this baseball game. I thought Joe did a really good job recapping the game. I don't want to be too redundant here, but I want to circle some real good stuff. And then I got to talk about some base running stuff that bothered me a little bit, forgetting how many outs there were potentially and how that was covered. So I want to start. Let's fast forward to the fifth inning because Jamo was good. 6 innings, 3 earned. I thought his stuff was really good. He had one of his classic, hanging cutters, breaking balls to Langford that got hit a really long way. He's going to have those. But I thought his stuff was pretty good. I don't think there's a whole lot, to say on Jamo. I'm seeing some of these comments. I like that. Rolaids relievers. That's pretty good. I thought Jamo was pretty good. But to me, if this game was a normal game, and the Cubs aren't a normal team, so I wouldn't expect anything less, this game would have been decided in the 5th inning. And I think it really summarizes where this offense is at. So I want to start going through the 5th inning. I know Joe did it a little bit, but base hit to right by Seiya. Beautifully done. Kyle Tucker, not only does Kyle Tucker get a base hit, but watch that at bat again tomorrow if you're bored. Watch that at bat again. He gets beat on a changeup, a really, really good right on left changeup, and makes such an obvious adjustment to just hang back enough to drive that ball to right center field. And not only that, but after he got that base hit, after he got that hit, he showed some emotion. He flipped the bat a little bit, and he seems like a pretty mild-mannered guy. After Jamo got out of the 6th inning, he showed some emotion. These guys, man, they are really focused. They're really locked in, and I love it. Like, I am so impressed with this team everywhere besides the pen right now, and it's really been a joy to watch. And you guys know me. I love that stuff. I love emotion. I love intensity. All the stuff that people don't think matter anymore, it does. Okay? And then after Tucker comes Justin Turner. That at bat right there is why Justin Turner's on the Cubs. You write him a $6 million check for that at bat right there. 2 on, no out, critical point, tie game, 5th inning, works a deep count, lets the ball get deep, drives it to right field. He's not going to get pinch hit for in those situations. That's his job, is to hit right there. The guy's a professional hitter. I think his at bats so far have been much better than the results. Big base hit right there. Dansby comes up, does the job, sack fly, a little bit of sloppiness from Texas. Justin Turner. I probably said Justin Tucker again. I don't even want to know. Justin Turner. I have Tucker and Turner stuck in my head. I heard Pat Hughes do it a couple times too, and he's a Hall of Famer. Justin Turner does a wonderful job of tagging up and getting to second base as Kyle Tucker, so it's like a who's on first, gets to third base, and then Nico Hoerner gets another clutch base hit. And Joe broke it down beautifully. All I want to add to it is it makes me emotional because Nico Hoerner, this is the Nico Hoerner that I fell in love with as a baseball player, guys. The bat-to-ball skills, the clutch hits, the phenomenal defense. I'll go as far as to say that early in this campaign, I know the numbers don't back it up, and I don't care that he's not slugging. It means nothing to me. That's not what his job is on this team. His job is to be Nico Hoerner, and that is plenty good enough. And I'll go as far as to say this. Dansby's been great. Seiya's had his moments offensively. I think Nico Hoerner's been the Cubs' second-best position player so far. Second best, obviously. We know who's first. And it's just been brilliant to watch. It's been brilliant to watch him play the game his way. And he came up with a really big base hit there. And it was just a beautiful inning. It was a beautiful inning. Obviously, the game ended up being tied. But I want to highlight a negative position player play. I don't have this factual. If somebody wants to comment, let me know if it was said. I don't know if it's factual right now, but I believe Seiya Suzuki forgot how many outs there were in the sixth inning. There was a man, he was on first. There were 2 outs. Kyle Tucker drove another double to left center field, and Seiya just kind of stopped at third. It wasn't even close to scoring. And then a couple people at the game let me know on Twitter that he stopped at second, waited for the ball to drop. Which means that he thought there was 1 out. That happens. It can't happen again. But I have to point out that right there, and I know that this is probably a little eye-rolling for people, but that right there is why Marquis just has to be better. That there was not one mention of that. If you want to talk about Pokemon and you want to talk about pizza and you want to talk about French fries, your job is to make sure that the people watching, like my mom was watching this game tonight. She did not know that Seiya Suzuki forgot how many outs there were. Somebody needs to mention that. That is your job as the network, is to relay the information. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will come out here and apologize. But I mean, even if he didn't forget how many outs there were, if he tripped, there needs to be something where, like, you know, JD goes, I'm surprised Seiya didn't score there. And then boom, that cues the producers to go, wait, why didn't he score there? Okay, let's go to that. It's got to be better, man. This team is serious this year, and we need serious broadcasters. It's got to be better. Just has to be. If you're going to talk about golf scores, you're going to talk about all that. Somebody commented that Pat Hughes said it. Again, not surprised. He's a Hall of Famer, but Marquis needs to say that too, because I'm not listening to Pat Hughes. I know I should, but I listen to Marquis so I could comment on things like this. Later in the game, the Cubs tied it. We'll talk about the bullpen, like I said, and they got some help in the 8th inning. A misplay on an Ian Happ ball, to be fair, was hit really hard. I think Ian's had some really tough luck with some balls that have been ruled errors that were really hit hard. He's hit the ball much better than his line suggests as well. And then bat at bat from Seiya there, although he had a really good day. Tucker gets intentionally walked. Was really surprised the runners weren't on the move. 3-2 with Birdie and his bat to ball and ground ball. Likeliness there. Get another break on an air, and then Dansby Swanson comes up. Base hit to right center field. What more can you say about Dansby? We talked a lot about it on the show going into the season. Just felt like he's healthy. It felt like a bounce back year for him. Obviously, we're only, 14 games in here, 13, something like that. We're the Cubs 9-5. So we're 14 games in, but, just a really good start for him at the plate. And by the way, he made an incredible play in the 9th inning, or that was going to start to get really kind of nerve-wracking. Give him a ton of credit. It's great to see him back offensively. And then don't forget about Pete to break that thing open, because we know with Ryan Presley, a 2-run lead right now, that might not be the safest thing in the world, but Pete left on left, base hit the other way. You guys see the theme? Base hit the other way. Base hit the other way. Broke it open, and the Cubs won 10-6. What does it all mean? It just means that right now, this offense is really, really clicking, and it has been absolutely a thrill to watch. I am so impressed with it. They're playing to the conditions. They've made the adequate adjustments, and I tip my cap to the offense. I tip my cap to Craig. I tip my cap to all these guys, because you could tell there is a real serious approach there, and we'll talk about that a little bit more coming up next. But what we have to talk about, what you're waiting to talk about, is what happened with the bullpen. And I'm going to tell you why it actually wasn't as bad as you might think it was. And let's get into that next. This episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Right here, and I've upgraded to the bigger bag, I have the chili roasted flavor that I have been loving for quite a while now. I'm a grazer throughout the day, guys. I don't have time for a full meal in the middle of work. So if I'm in between meetings or equipment runs, these little green wonders pack the protein punch I need to get me through the day. And I can't recommend the chili roasted kind enough. It is absolutely packed with flavor. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. And before we get to the bullpen, I just want to close out by just saying, I'm not some sort of genius, right? I love having the podcast. I love talking to you guys. But if you're an everydayer in the offseason, if you're an everydayer last year, you understand why I'm so excited, because I just was so frustrated watching this team when the wind was howling in, just try and hit home runs and play station to station baseball, and to see them and the base running and the going the opposite way. It hits home for me. It really does. Like I'm half kidding on my bit with Nico Horner where I'm like, hey, it makes me emotional on Twitter, but it really does. Like, this is because I've always felt like, even before the Cubs got Kyle Tucker, I always felt like there was a good team in here. And a good offense, but they were just so stagnant. And so let's just wait. Let's just wait for something to happen instead of making something happen. And they've done that so far. And again, just total credit to those guys. Obviously, the one issue why the Cubs aren't a 11-3 ball club and all that stuff, the bullpen. I think, and I'm not just saying this because they won today. I'm not that type of guy. I'm a process-oriented guy too. I don't think it was as bad as you may think it was. You look on paper, 3 innings, 3 runs. Merriweather gave up some hits. Hodge gave up the lead. Presley was better in the 9th inning, but still gave up some hard hit balls. Had a great play behind him by Dansby in a gift base stealing play that I have no idea what Marcus Semien was thinking. 506 people right now. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please join me Friday for my watch along at Chavez Ravine at 9:10 Central against the Dodgers. So as far as the bullpen goes, so Merriweather comes in, gets jumped first pitch by Josh Young, double down the line. Okay. So immediately he's in trouble. Then that run scores on Tavares's opposite field. First pitch again, slicer down the line. Wasn't really hit that well. Really was kind of a cheap triple. A little bit misplayed there by Ian. He wouldn't have caught it anyway. I know I've been pro Merriweather, so it may sound like I'm defending him. I just don't think he looked bad. I just think the results were bad today. I don't think he's been out of the trust tree or anything like that. I know I'm sure people in the comments are saying, well, I'd rather Brad Keller there. Maybe so, but I don't think Merriweather was necessarily bad on Tuesday night. The results were bad, and that's going to happen. Bad results are fine every now and then. I don't think he was necessarily bad. I thought Porter Hodge was pretty good, man. I really... in the slightest chance that Kyle Tucker's watching this podcast, I don't want to say anything because I want us to extend this guy because he's so good. So I'm sorry, Kyle, but that ball should have been caught in right field, and it's a tough play, and it's a play that he'll make in about 3 or 4 months when he has more experience there with the short wall and the weird stuff. But that ball should have been caught. And if the ball's caught, it's a hold and a really nice job for Porter Hodge. So I thought his stuff looked crisp again, and I have confidence in him. And then in the 9th inning, to be honest, and I know it sounds like I'm piling on top of the guy, and I've no reason to. I actually thought those two guys looked better than Presley. He got a few whiffs. He was able to keep the ball on the ground, which is a trend that I've noticed the last 2 times out. So that's good. But, Dansby had to make a heck of a play for him. And then, like I said, Semien gets thrown out. I just would love to see an inning where he just goes 1, 2, 3, or just allows one base runner But he did hit 94 miles per hour today, so that's a good sign. And in Ryan Presley's defense, he has not directly cost the Cubs any games yet this year, despite really having to grow into the season. So I'm all for him turning around. I have no, people always say, Sam, you like this guy and you don't. I like the Cubs winning. And if Ryan Presley turning it around is what the Cubs need, then I am all for it. And I promise you, I will be the first one to look right into this camera and say, he turned it around and great for him. I just don't think he's been very good yet. So overall, bad day for the bullpen. Can't give up 3 runs from your high leverage guys. Can't blow a 3-run lead. But I do think this time felt a little bit different. There wasn't a boatload of walks. There wasn't a boatload of hard contact. It was just one of those days where some baseballs fell in for Texas. But the baseball gods evened it out because Texas defensively today looked like the bad news Bears. I want to transition into really quick, just talking about the schedule, the upcoming schedule here as we get ready to close this series out. Quick preview Wednesday. Cubs have a chance for a sweep. Imanaga versus Maile should be real big favorites in that one. I'd love to see them make up for the Padres game and go finish the job and sweep this series. I thought right after they got game 1, I said it on here, I think they could sweep this series and nothing's changed. Go get the job done at 1:20 while everybody's at work. I want to be checking in for updates. I want to see a nice 6-3 win. After the Cubs play the Rangers on Wednesday, they have a day off on Thursday, and then they embark on maybe the toughest stretch I could remember a Cubs team ever having schedule-wise. And I know we've well documented April and how tough of a schedule it is, but this is where it gets from tough schedule to it's borderline historic. And I want to talk about it really quick here. So after Thursday, the Cubs travel to LA to face the Dodgers 3 times. Folks, trust me on this. You're a big Dodger fan on Wednesday. You do not want the Dodgers coming off a sweep at the hands of the lowly Nationals and then hosting the Cubs over the weekend. You don't want that. Let the Dodgers get a game on Wednesday, please. Okay. After you go face the Dodgers for 3, I think you're facing Sasaki, Glasnow, and May, I believe, assuming no rain out on Wednesday in D.C. So, Snell's on the IL and you miss Yamamoto, so that's nice. You go face the Padres again. Really good team on the road, very difficult series. I'm not going to put wins and losses on it because we just know that every game's different. And, you might say, hey, well, a 2-4 trip would be good. But if, you're 2-3 in the last game, you blow a 5-run lead, 2-4 doesn't feel that good. So I'm not going to do that. Then you come home, you play a really, really tough D-backs team who's struggling to start the year for sure. Eugenio Suarez, remember him? He's hitting like 170, 180 now. Shocker. But he'll hit when he comes here. Then you play the Dodgers again at home for 2. And then you host the Philadelphia Phillies. So the next couple weeks, you pretty much play, I don't know, all the best teams in the National League outside of the Diamondbacks, depending how high you value them, and some of the best teams in baseball. So the Cubs are going to have to continue to play the level that they're playing at. But if they continue to play like this, it could get real fun come May and June. Because in mid-May, you see the Marlins twice. You see the Sox. Haven't been impressed with the Reds, especially offensively this year. It lightens up. And, you're going to have to play well to beat anybody in baseball. If the Cubs aren't playing well, it doesn't matter who they play. They could lose. They could split and go 3-3 against the Marlins if they don't play well. But if they continue, they're not going to continue this. But if they continue playing well, because this is extraordinary what they're doing right now offensively, it could be a real fun summer with the Cubs if they can get through this stretch, because there is nothing in baseball that compares to the stretch that they're on, about to be on right now. I mean, imagine if the Brewers had to face that. I mean, I'd be watching every game and just get my popcorn ready. Loss. So, it is, it's going to be tough times ahead, but this team seems focused and they seem ready for the challenge. And I hope that they will welcome that challenge and play their very best baseball. Coming up next, I want to do a little bit of a follow-up on our discussion about the potential of a Kyle Tucker extension. And then we're going to talk about a nice honor that the Cubs farm system received. That's all coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Folks, I spend way too much money on food delivery, eating out, online delivery services. And when I started using Monarch, I realized just how bad it was. Now I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. I appreciate everybody that is still with us. 570 of you at 10:15 Central Time at night. Just the best fan base in the world. Cannot express how grateful Matt and I are for all of you. You guys are the best. Yesterday, Matt and I talked about the Kyle Tucker extension and how Vlad Guerrero, how that it related to that. And, you know, I've been pretty cynical about a potential Cub extension for Kyle Tucker. And, you know, for obvious reasons, Cubs haven't given out a $200 million contract. Tom doesn't like years, doesn't like deferrals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that conversation got me thinking. And then I listened to Cap's podcast, the recap podcast with David Kaplan, Ryan McGuffey, and Gordon Whitmire. Shout out, by the way, Ryan McGuffey. He's really, really good, really talented guy. Really enjoy listening to him. I thought he was awesome on that podcast. Really, really enjoyed his takes as well. Of course, Cap. And they talked about the extension, and Cap just talked about some things about, hey, you know, he kind of set a deadline for the Cubs between now and the All-Star break. And, you know, the Cubs need to get that done before the All-Star break because of obvious reasons. If you get past the All-Star break and Kyle Tucker's having a great year, he's probably past that threshold of, well, you know, what if I get injured or what if something happens? You know, at that point, he's already proven that he's worth whatever money there is. So it prompted me to text some people, you know, in the industry, and they echoed the same thing. They said that they, you know, I said, what is it, about a 1%, 5% chance? And these guys don't have any inside information or anything like that. They just guess. They said probably more than that, but the sooner the better. They got to pounce. They got to get it done sooner. And so I thought about it, and there is a case to be made for why Kyle Tucker would take an extension. We still just don't know if the Cubs will get that money. And that is, if Tom calls Kyle Tucker's agent, or Jed calls Kyle Tucker's agent, says, hey, just this is hypothetical stuff. I'm ballparking the numbers. We got 10 for $465 on the table for you right now. Number one, Kyle Tucker doesn't know what's going to happen the rest of the year, especially health-wise. We obviously just want him to be healthy and help us win as many games as we can. But you know, put yourself in the position. Somebody offers you $465 million, and there's a good chance that you might be able to get like 500, 520, 530, 540. But there's also a chance, you know, you could run into a wall, or, you know, anything could happen where that money, you know, could decrease. A lot of us would probably take that life-changing money, right? Then there's the uncertainty of the collective bargaining agreement. And most of that stuff, I believe, is going to happen after 2026. But even so, you know, I mean, I would just be, if I were him, it'd be like, you know what, with all that stuff, what if teams are a little bit more cautious next offseason because they don't know what's going to happen to the CBA? Maybe I just take that 10 for $465 right now. Now, I'm sure he has to spend some more time here, see if his family likes the city. I mean, right now there's not much to like, but in the summertime, Chicago in the summertime, maybe he changes his mind. I think there's a real case to be made why Kyle Tucker and his group would take an extension. I just don't know if the Cubs are actually going to do it. And that's what's scary. Matt covered that beautifully. I thought Matt said it beautifully. I'll just echo it. If they don't make a competitive offer. Now, there is a case, and Cap talked about this, where what if he just wants to be a Yankee? What if he just wants to be a Philadelphia Philly, and the Cubs offer the same amount of money and he chooses it there? Then there's nothing you could do. And Cap talked about that. But you know, if we hear that the Cubs offered him 10 for 380 and the number that got him was 10 for 480 and they let him walk, as Matt said, I think it will be time to have some really tough conversations on the air. But I just wanted to follow up on that because I thought it was a shorter segment. And, it's going to be an important talking point, whether we like it or not, as this guy continues to amaze with his tremendous ability. I want to close the show by talking about the minor leagues, which we haven't done a whole lot yet. We will once we start to get a rhythm in the season. It just feels like every game there's been a lot of high drama, a lot of things going on. Baseball America named their top 10 most talented minor league teams, and number 1 was your Iowa Cubs. And at first I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm like, that surprised me. And then I realized, no, it doesn't, because all the Cubs' young talent is up there. I mean, you look at that team, Alcantara, Ballesteros, Cade, and Triantos, and all these young guys that are, Casey, we've talked about it, and they're all there. And I think it's a real positive because it shows you that these guys are really talented, and you want a positive farm system. But it also, I don't want to say it's a negative, but something you have to be aware of is that having all that talent at AAA means some of these guys pretty soon, if all goes well, are going to be ready. And when they're ready, we don't have spots, and I typically don't worry about spots because they take care of themselves. But this year, if Owen Casey continues to rake and has a huge year, like where does he play if everybody's healthy? Hap's not giving up left field, Pete's not giving up center, sure not giving up right, and Seiya's not giving up DH. So it is interesting, and hopefully, I think the Cubs' weakness in their farm system right now is the depth and the real young guys that they'll have to rebuild. But man, my first eye went to, if this team, this was one of my bold predictions this year, if this team is anywhere close, let's say they're 2 games up, 3 games up, game up, they have the assets in their organization to flip this NL Central upside down at the trade deadline. And I know you don't want to give up a bunch of young guys. I know. But the Cubs, at least technically, you'd like to think can afford to do that, being what's supposed to be a major market team. But even if you're spending $215, $220 a year, that's a lot more than Milwaukee. Like, even if Milwaukee has that great of a farm system, that much talent, they can't give up those guys because they can't recoup in free agency. So it's pretty exciting what the potential is down there. Now, there's some guys I really like, and there's some guys I don't want to trade, but it's going to be pretty interesting come July if this team's playing the way they're playing now, and they got a real chance to go after this thing. I promise you, the bullpen, the more wins they have, the bullpen won't be an issue after mid to late July. I promise you that. If the Cubs are playing well, if the Cubs are in this race, the bullpen will be fixed like that. Maybe even another starter comes. And so it's going to be really interesting. But the Cubs still got really good assets down there. Some of the highest trade value guys. We did the trade value episode. Cam Smith was really high up there. Remember that? I think I had him 5th or 6th of our trade value. And you know what you turned him into? The right fielder, who right now, if the season ended today, would be right in the MVP race. But a lot of great stuff, a lot of high drama, a lot of ginger ale. That's what this Cubs team is right now. But man, have they been so fun to watch offensively and defensively. And I'm really proud of the way that they have been playing so far. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 30 minutes and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Please be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube. The like button helps if you're still here. I appreciate it. And leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Sam Olber, and this has been another victory edition of Locked On Cubs. Have a great night, everybody.